Prepare for a fusion of knowledge and exhilaration where education and excitement collide.
Taking you on an adventure that expands your mind and speaks to your spirit.
I'm Master Nick.
I'm Lady Dee.
We are the Dom Life.
This podcast contains sexually explicit topics and adult content.
It is intended for listeners 18 and older.
The opinions expressed in this podcast are ours alone, based on our personal thoughts, feelings, and experiences.
We understand that others may have different opinions and experiences, and we respect that. We would love to hear from you. You can reach out to us at www.thedomlife.com. Anyone can call themselves dominant behind closed doors.
Anyone can submit when it's safe, quiet, and convenient. But the moment you step into public, noise, distraction, other eyes, real world pressure.
That's where your dynamic either holds or cracks. Anyone can play a role in private, but power in public, that's where it's proven. And that is what we are going to be discussing today.
Welcome back, everyone.
We got a really good episode lined up for you here, Power in Public. We are really excited to get into it. But before we do, it has been a while since we have had an update on your recovery. So, Lady D, why don't you fill everybody in?
I am doing well. I am doing way better than I was before. I am still seeing doctors and still in like a recovery phase. I have healed in terms of fractured bones have healed together, and now they're just in the process of still doing what they do. But because I had inflammation for so long, I've also gotten some pretty bad news, which kind of impacted our world for the last month or so. I had already, I don't know whether I said it or not, but I had bilateral arthritis due to the fractures in my hips, permanent degenerative. And then recently I went in for another scan on my spine because I was getting stuck down. And there is a lot going on, nothing that requires surgery, but I have spinal stenosis, which was congenital, I guess. Strange things you didn't know when you didn't get injured.
Right.
And then I have 2 discs that have disc desiccation, which basically means I've lost the fluid in the discs. In addition to that, I have 1 bulging disc, and that disc actually has a tear in it, which is kind of what was causing me such acute pain. That's all related, obviously, to the accident. And then I also have arthritis bilateral from L1 to S1. Now, mind you, that's all we took an MRI of, so I don't know about my upper back, but I know I do have some issues from a previous accident 20 years ago. So I have bilateral arthritis in my spine, bilateral arthritis in my hips. And so I bought myself a couple of walking canes that are really cool that have dragons on it. I get compliments every time I'm out. I don't feel like an old person. Not that there's anything wrong with being old, but I'm not there yet.
Is this kind of like the training bra stage of canes?
Yeah, these are not, because these are permanent. These are things that I have that I can use whenever I need, and they are like rockin' cool.
Oh, they are.
Every single person that sees it is like,
Yep.
Where did you get that?
It's just something else that you get compliments on.
Yay!
All your little accessories, your hair, your tattoos, your outfits,
so
your shoes.
Funny, every
everything.
girl in the world wants to lose weight, right? I mean, not every girl, but the majority of people are like, yeah, I could lose 5 pounds, 10 pounds, whatever. When I went into the doctor to talk about all my injuries, I wasn't even thinking about weight. You know,
Right.
Master Nick and I were doing some workout plans together.
Yeah.
And we had gotten into kind of really good shape, and he has continued that path. I could not work out. But I ended up going to the doctor, and she said part of the spine stuff, she's like, I really don't want you to have a surgery. I really want to help with that. And I think taking off some weight would be good. She complimented me on the fact that I took off weight and that I've maintained the majority of it off during this whole 7 months of inactivity. But she has put me on a GLP-1. And because of that, I'm going to lose weight. And it wasn't even related to, I never even mentioned weight.
Right.
So, yay.
Yep.
I'm excited about it, and I don't have to put in as much work as Master Nick does.
Yeah, which sucks.
Yeah, but he's got muscles now.
If only there was a pill I could take every day and not have to do all the shit that I'm doing.
But it looks really good.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. All right. Let's get into this episode, Power in Public. If you do have a dynamic, it is, well, I say it is for me. I know it is for us to carry that power out into public. And, sometimes we get reactions from the people that we're around. We notice that they notice what's going on. So it's a kind of a feel good moment to know that our power is showing to other people without us having to say we're in a dynamic.
Well, it's not like you take your dominance, tuck it back in your pocket when we go out. I mean, you just carry yourself this way all the time.
Right.
And so this episode is discussing ways, kind of like what it means. How do you do the power exchange out in public? And how do you, it's going to be a lot different in public than it is in private.
Absolutely. And so if this is something new to you, if this is a new dynamic that you're starting, or you're in a dynamic, but it's only while you're in the house, this is some good information to take out with you out in public to kind of test the waters. You're not going to get it right the first time. It's like everything else. It takes training. It takes messing up. It takes, making the mistakes and learning from them and communicating about what went right, what went wrong, what you can continue with, what you don't need to do the next time you're out. So again, communication is huge in this. So let's get into it. Most of the time strangers won't see it, but they're going to feel it. They can kind of feel that power dynamic that you have if it's done correctly. It is a subtle authority, controlled behavior, and a silent communication. It is not we go out and I'm giving orders. I'm not saying this is where you're going to walk. I'm not saying this is where you're going to stand. I'm not telling you what to do. It is small cues. It is the looks. It is the signals. It is a lot of knowing each other and building that dynamic.
Right. Part of what you do is you guide me through your hands.
Yes.
Like just, a polite thing. You see people when they're out and they're dressed up, they tend to touch each other. The guy's hand is on the back of the spine area and they help guide. And you do that on a regular basis, not just when we're dressed up. There's a leadership in you when we go out.
Right. Especially, it's like getting from the car to the place. We're usually holding hands.
Right.
And we'll get into somewheres in this podcast, we'll get into, the right ways to walk and all that kind of stuff. But normally we're holding hands when we're walking across the parking lot or getting ready to go in. Obviously, as hopefully the listeners know by now, you do not touch any doors. So I get you out of the vehicle. We hold hands. We get to where we're going. You do not touch the fucking doors.
I do not, but
and when we get to the venue or the business that we're getting ready to go into, we usually stop holding hands. I will open the door. I'll usually take my hand, guide you through. And then depending on how crowded it is, depends on whether we go back to holding hands or whether I have you walk just a little to the side of me, just a few inches behind me.
Right.
Kind of almost right up to the side. And then that's where I'll take my hand and kind of guide or lead. Or if it's really crowded, I will actually step in front of you, reach back with my hand, or you have grabbed hold of my belt loop before to let me know that you're there if I can't use my hand.
Right.
And then lead our way through a crowded area.
And truth be told, it is not all the dominance responsibility when you're out in public. the submissive has a role as well.
Hmm.
And it is just as important
Yes.
to, if for others to feel that dynamic, it is just as important for the submissive to show that submission.
Right. That was a little bit of a tongue twister there for you, wasn't
I
it?
really, here,
Drink some more of that coffee.
coffee.
Get you some more of that coffee. All right. A real dynamic doesn't turn off when you leave the house. It adapts, but it doesn't disappear.
Our dynamic never disappears.
Correct.
There are times when it kind of takes a step into the background,
Mhm.
but all it takes is a single look from you, and I am back under control,
Right.
whatever that means.
Right.
Power in public isn't loud, it's not a performance, and it doesn't beg for attention. So you're very good at that. It's not like you're go sit over there.
Right.
You're not, zip your mouth, that
Right.
kind of stuff. You don't treat me like a child when we're out. You
Correct.
just lead it. It's controlled, it's contained. You are that kind of person naturally. Even when you're angry, even when you're sad, even when you have any emotion, your emotions
Right.
tend to be very held close to you.
Oh, wait.
Um,
Yeah.
and I have to be able to see you to understand what emotion you're feeling.
Right.
It's usually something as simple as your jaw tightening,
Yeah.
the vein popping out on your head.
Yeah, I'm a
Like
little
there's
angry
just
there.
there's little
Right.
signals that I pay attention. So if we're out and I'm seeing that, or I see your eyes catch something and stick to it, I back backwards because I know that you're addressing safety, you're addressing a situation,
Right.
that kind of stuff.
Right. All right. Uh, so, what power in public actually means is not being obvious or putting on a performance. It's a controlled, intentional, and often invisible to others. It is power in public is not putting on a show. If you need others to see it for it to feel real, it's already weak. And that is huge. We're not going out portraying as dominant and submissives. We're not going out trying to entertain. We're not going out trying to draw attention. We're not going out to do any of this. We're going out, we're living our lives like we live our lives. And this is how we live it. A lot of the times it does go unnoticed. People that aren't aware or that just don't see it. But there is a lot of times that we are out and we notice people will kind of stop and look and kind of point, and you'll see little whispers and you'll see their face light up, or, sometimes we get a kind of a nasty look from it, but oh well, to each their own.
I think part of it is that there's some cues that we do. You order my food.
Yes.
That's a big one. So
Yep.
I don't really speak. I mean, I'll speak, but I'm not addressing the waitress or waiter very often. It's you that does it. I may say thank you, but that's about it.
Right.
You're like, she'll have. So you're already put in that position of control from
Right.
the beginning.
Right.
You order my drinks. Where we sit, how we sit, those are
Mhm.
all things that are cues to your control.
Right. Yep. I always want once we find out which table it is, you will wait until I see what direction everything is pointing, where all the doors are, where the majority of the people is. Then I will decide where I want to sit, and then I'll usually just kind of point or lead you into your chair.
I think that the difference in public is it attention seeking behavior. Are you trying to get people to look at you, or are you handling yourself with quiet authority? So if you're
Right.
new to this,
Right.
you're going to have to that's one of the things you already mentioned is you're going to have to learn this, you're going to have to do it, and it's like you need to know, are you jerking your submissive around? Are you yanking them? Are you, pointing to a chair and like kind of being overly dramatic about stuff?
Right.
Or do you hold them on their back and just lead them to the chair to let them sit down?
Right.
Do you walk into a room and make sure that the room is safe? If it's loud and rowdy, is your submissive, like you said, just a slight step behind you where you can
Right.
feel them, but you're the first line of defense out there?
Right. Yep. And then I know it's in here. I am correct, right? It is in here because I have questions for our listeners on what their opinions are. I have my opinion on how to walk and where the submissive is.
I don't think it's in this one.
You don't think it's in this one?
No, I think that the next episode that we do will be about actual
that.
behavior out in public. Right
Okay.
now, what we're dealing with is the explanation of what it is and
Right.
how to do it. Not, in general, like a general high level.
Okay.
I think that we should have a real deep episode
I think we
on
should.
actual where to walk, how to walk,
Right. And again,
some of the
I have
things
my
you can
preferences.
try out in public,
Right.
and that kind of stuff.
All right,
But
we'll have to look into that then. All right, so acting dominant versus being dominant. Power equals consistency across the environments. If your structure only exists in private, then it's not structure, it's a convenience. Now, there is nothing wrong for those that have a DS dynamic only in the bedroom or only in the house. If you have two very strong willed people that don't want to give up full control, then in your house, in your bedroom, only during scenes is perfectly fine. If that's how your dynamic fits you.
especially since there's switches that flip
Right.
back and forth.
Yep.
So maybe the male may run the outside, or there's a female that runs the outside.
Right.
But in our case,
For us, I have full control. We live it 24/7. So whether we're at home, whether we're shopping, whether we're going to a restaurant, whether it is a vanilla Christmas party at one of our companies, regardless of what it is, I still have my role. I still do my role, and obviously make sure you are safe. It is a safe environment. Nobody can bother you. Nobody can get to you. Nobody can hurt you.
I'm not
All
being
of that stuff.
too forward. I'm
Right.
not being out there. Like, there's a lot of times where
Right.
you pull that control when you need to settle me a little bit.
Sometimes when a little too much alcohol is involved.
What? I rarely drink too much alcohol.
It's rare.
It's rare,
It's
but it
rare.
happens.
There has been an occasion or two. I'm like, we got to reel this back in just a little bit.
Well, considering you order my drinks and stuff, that makes it easier.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that your line is not consistent. Me, I've got a pretty good line. I know about how much it takes for me to get to where I want to be.
Alcohol wise.
Your
To
day,
feeling.
your day may be half a cup. Other days it may be 2 cups. It's a never stopping line. It always moves.
Always moves.
Dominance, role in public. Now, this is where a weak dom can be exposed because in public, you can't rely on volume or control tactics. All you have is presence, and presence can't be faked for long.
I like that so much. Presence can't be faked for long.
Yep. You are responsible to keep your presence and maintain your dominant energy. Calm, grounded, observant. You are not loud or flashy.
I think if you're busy, being loud, you're not actually paying attention to what's going around. You're
Mhm.
too busy blowing your own horn, doing your own
Right.
thing, that you can't actually be aware of what's going on in the room.
Right. And then it's also been said, I've seen it on several videos, that normally the quietest person in the room is the most controlled.
Or the most dangerous.
Yeah, the most
Sometimes you
dangerous.
hear that
Yep.
too, because they're the ones that are
They're the ones that are
sitting
just
back.
sitting back, observing, watching, listening, paying attention. They know exactly what's going on. They know exactly where the threats are. They know exactly where, the bullies or the shy ones are. They pretty much can scan that whole room and can tell who is who and, any potential threats or anything. Yeah.
But when you're scanning the room, it's not a nervous
No,
scan.
no, you're not
It
nervous.
is
scan-
a
right.
controlled scan that just lets you know where the people are
Yep.
and what's going on in the various groups.
Yep. You own your space. And like you said, you can't be nervous about it. If you do get nervous in a crowded place, that is a skill that you can sharpen, you can get better at. It's not like it's something you can achieve. It takes time. It takes, understanding what makes you nervous.
Best thing is fake it until you make it.
Well, yeah, you can do that too. but-
Sometimes you just walk into the room and you pretend you're not.
Yep.
And then at some point, you'll be walking into the room and you'll be like, oh, this
Yep.
is normal.
but
We're good.
It takes time. It
Yes.
takes time to get there. It's something that I had to learn to do over time. It's, I used to get real nervous walking into, I used to get nervous to drive to Louisville. So just being around that many cars, the,
From
the
Chicago.
radio would get turned all the way down because, if it's too loud, you can't see. So I'd always turn but I used to get real nervous at stuff like that. And just over time of doing it time and time again and focusing on not getting nervous. And so I have overcome that. I guess I don't know if I faked it till I made it or not,
Yeah,
but
that's exactly
it,
what it is. And I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way. I
right,
mean, you just go and you do it
right,
and you pretend like you're going to be okay because you're going to walk into a room. And if every time you walk into the room you act nervous, then that's not good.
right,
So you're going to pretend that you're okay
yep,
until it becomes a more comfortable situation.
right,
Now, some people, it never becomes, I don't like new situations myself. I still have to fake it.
right,
But I do that and nobody can tell that I'm a nervous wreck
right.
because that's what I've done.
One quick tip, if that is a problem for you of getting nervous in a crowded room. One thing that I have learned and I've heard mentioned here lately is slow down. If you walk into a room and you're nervous, take a deep breath and slow down. Slow your walk down. Slow down how you talk. Just slow your whole movements.
That makes
And
sense.
it kind of calms your system down and it doesn't make you look as nervous.
I was going to say others
what
perceive
you
that
are.
as calm
Yes.
too.
So slowing stuff down when you're nervous really helps.
So when you're out in public, you lead me and a lot of times you're not using words.
Correct.
You do it subtle directions with
Mhm.
your body, with your tone shift, with eye contact.
Definitely eye contact.
I mean,
And making decisions smoothly. It should, where to go, when to leave, what's next.
you
It
planned it
goes-
all out.
oh,
Like
yeah.
you plan out the event, you plan out whether or not there's a place local that we can stop at, what it's like. You kind of do all the research beforehand
yeah.
so that even if the night kind of blows up, you're like, I have plan B.
Yep. Backup plans. Always got backup plans.
Yeah.
But again, it's nothing all of a sudden jerk. It's nothing, no quick movements, slowing things down, being smooth with it really helps bring out that dominance. A Dom is responsible for protection and awareness of their submissive and environment. And that is one thing that I have done for as long as I can remember, way before we met. That was just something, I don't know how it got instilled in me. I don't know where it came from, but I am always aware of my surroundings. I am always scanning. I know I have been on dates before and had the person that I was there with, are you okay? Because I'm not making a lot of eye contact with them.
Right.
I will look at them and I will talk, and then I will turn my head and I'll just kind of scan the room, left to right, go back to them, and then it was a constant thing. But that's what I'm doing. I mean, especially this day and time, you don't know. I mean, you go to Louisville, people get shot in Louisville. I don't know how many times a day.
Right.
So
It's really
you never know where you're at, what's going on. Will I be able to prevent it? No. Will I hopefully be able to prevent any of us getting hurt or injured? That's my goal.
Right.
I'm not looking to stop a threat. I'm looking to protect from a threat if it was to happen.
Strangely, because I'm born and raised in Chicago,
Mhm.
it's a different pace, it's a different world. And so I also have that
do.
instinct to protect, to be aware of others, to know what's going on. And it's always been there. But I've noticed more recently, because I have you, I am less aware of my surroundings because I know that you will be aware of my surroundings. Does
Right.
that make sense? So I don't have to be on high alert all the time.
Right.
And it was because when we were younger and we'd go to the bar, somebody would try to grab us, grab us to kidnap us. Maybe that happened too, and I just wasn't aware. But I mean,
Right.
like they try to touch you inappropriately. And I mean, I have had to elbow people before to
Right.
stop that kind of behavior. And so I'm very attuned to the surroundings,
Right.
which, again, leads to an interesting situation not that long ago. We were doing something and the environment was a safe environment. There's security there. We were at our club and there was just somebody who was a little bit too drunk
Yeah.
and they got interested in our girlfriend. And it was one of those situations where I was there first just because I had walked up
Mhm.
with
You
her
were closer to her than I
and I
was.
was just making sure that everything was cool. I wasn't trying to
Right.
be aggressive or anything like that, but you are definitely, not going to step up like that. But in the background, tell me what you had, because you were sitting
I
at
was I was
a little
sitting
bit.
I was sitting across the counter.
Yep.
So I was kind of sitting in a seat at like a bar height counter. You all was on the other side of it. I seen it start unfolding. I seen you were handling everything, but amongst all of that, I'd already knew there was one club security guard immediately to my right. There was another club security guard probably about 2 o'clock on the other side of you all. So I had made eye contact with them. They'd kind of give me a look like they were paying attention. They knew what was going on. So I knew immediately I technically didn't have to do anything.
Right.
So I just sat and you said, back up, get away.
Yeah. You need to step
It
back
was
because she's
done. It was over with. There was nothing else happened. There was no drama. But yes, in the background, I was already contemplating two security guards there. I can jump and clear this table.
It was
I can
also
be
cool
there in
because
like
one of
half
my
a second.
friends stepped up beside me,
Right.
put their hand on my shoulder, and just was like, "Hey, I'm here."
Right.
So it's like, again,
And it
nothing was
wasn't,
going to
it
happen.
was
It
nothing
wasn't
threatening. Right. It
dangerous,
was
but
nothing
it
threatening.
was, "Hey, you need to step back." And the
Right.
person was had just a little bit too much to drink and
Right.
wasn't making clear decisions.
Yeah, they was wanting to enter a space we did not want them to enter.
Right.
And, it wasn't like they come up and was
Oh
wanting
yeah,
to
the
fight
club
or
was right
cause a
there.
problem.
No, nothing
There
like
was
that.
no issue, but they was again a little intoxicated. It took a little bit more of telling them you're in our space and we prefer you not to be here.
Yep.
But yeah, again, in the background, I'm sitting there. I didn't have to do nothing. I didn't have to say anything. I didn't have to move. I knew you was there. You was handling it. Two security guards right beside me, and yeah, it
Re-
was no
That
issue.
basically is restraint is also a representation of power. Sometimes it's not about being the aggressor. Sometimes it's about sitting back and letting things happen, but being aware of the safety and security of your submissive.
Right.
So you made the choice not to act there because it
Correct.
would have escalated things. It would have probably
Well,
brought
it
in
would have.
their partner. It would
Right.
have, I mean, it wasn't a situation that
Right.
warranted it, but
Had I acted on it, it would have become a bigger scene than what I felt was necessary that needed to be.
right.
Again, I knew there wasn't a threat. I knew it wasn't nothing going to happen, and the issue resolved by you saying what you said, and everything was good.
Yep.
But your submissive should never feel exposed, uncertain, or responsible for their own safety when they're with you. And that is one thing that I take to heart. I don't want anybody, I don't care if you're my submissive. I don't care if you're my girlfriend. I don't care if you're my wife. I don't care if you're in my group. I feel the need to make sure that you feel safe and protected. When we're out with our group of friends, there may be 20 of us hanging out, doing something. I personally feel responsible for everybody's safety, everybody's protection while there. I know I'm not alone. I know the other DOMs that are there feel the same way.
Right.
And I know that they look for the same things, which is one reason why we have our circle. That's our circle of friends. I'm not going to hang out and be with a dominant that doesn't want to protect their submissive or their other people that are there.
Right.
So if you have that same characteristic, if you have those same values, I'm going to want to include you in our group, because the more safety, the more protection from the more DOMs, the more the submissives are allowed to be free, to express themselves, to do what they want to do, to be happy and to feel good to
And to
get,
just be able to release.
yes,
I mean, because again, if you're out with a group of friends, you're trying to enjoy yourself. You're trying
exactly.
to let loose of all the work and all the stress and all the responsibilities you've had for the people. I mean, you do that too,
Hmm.
but you do it in moderation
I do.
because you're still,
Oh, I'm having fun.
yeah.
And I will, like
But
at
being
the
in the
club,
group helps.
I'll go out, I'll dance on the dance floor, especially if I'm with you. Prior to your accident, there was times you would be your social butterfly and you would want to walk around and talk and introduce yourself to, people or whatever.
Yep.
And there were times I would stay propped up against a wall, against a counter up in VIP, and I would watch. Now, did I have to stand there and watch? No. I could have went with you, but maybe I didn't want to go. Maybe I wanted to just enjoy some quiet time. But while
What?
you're gone,
Did you just say that I talk a lot without saying I talk a
no.
lot?
I just sometimes
Yeah.
I want time to myself and those times are fucking perfect. You go and be your social butterfly and you go dance if you want to dance or you go flirt if you want to flirt. I don't, whatever you want to do to make yourself happy. There's times I want to stand back and just watch. But that's what I do.
Everybody, he just said I talk too much.
Not all the time. Don't choke on your coffee. But that's what I do. I will stand back and I will watch. Do I watch you the entire time? No. I will find your positions, make sure you're good. I'll scan the room. Somebody may walk up. Hey, how's it going? I'll talk to them briefly. I'm back looking at you, making sure you're good. So it's not like I'm got eyes on you all the time,
Right.
but it is a constant look and it's a constant scan to make sure everything is good. And that, you are watching everything, even when it looks like you're not. And that's one reason why I love being up in VIP. It's kind of like the crow's nest that they call it. You're up above everybody. You can see a lot more. And you'll find me, if I'm in VIP, you will find me leaned across, looking down on the dance floor. And that's what I'm doing. I'm just scanning the room. I'm watching people have fun. I'm watching people dance. I'm watching people converse with each other. It's a great time. It's a great atmosphere. I have yet to be there and there be a threat, but I'm still up there watching. That's just what I enjoy doing.
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
So public control shows mastery more than private intensity.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
So when you're out in public and you're able to control your submissive without being loud,
Mhm.
without touching, it's a lot. It shows the dynamic more,
Right.
I think, than when it's private at home. If your dynamic is 24/7, if it carries over to public.
Right.
So you do not, you're not loud.
Correct.
You know when to act.
Mhm.
You know how to direct me,
Mhm.
even without being aggressive.
Mhm.
And I think that a strong dominant tends to give less, not more in public. Fewer words, clear expectations, and zero wasted energy. And you do not waste energy. I have seen you correct a behavior with a word or a look. And that's it. That's all it takes. And I
Usually.
think all of the viewers that actually watch on YouTube got to see that when you corrected something not too long ago.
Yeah, they got about half the look. They didn't get the full look. They got about half the look. But again, so yes, that to me, what you just said is great, and you are right. I never have to get loud. Even with our newest one, we've been out to the club twice now. We've been out to restaurants. We've been to a couple of, well, I really wouldn't call them bars, but because it really wasn't the bar that I would picture as a bar. It was a bar, but it was a dead bar.
Right.
And even with them, it's a new dynamic. We are still learning each other. We are still building. We are still creating, the foundation, the structure, the walls, the rules, the tasks. We're still building all of that. But this, what you just said, really shows what a good submissive is. A good submissive should not act where their dom has to get loud.
Right.
Where their dom has to constantly correct, where their dom constantly has to put energy into their behavior or their attitude or what they're doing. So all of that you just said right there, to me, really shines onto a good submissive. A good submissive should know that draining the dom's energy by acting out in public is never going to be a good outcome, especially for me.
Right.
If I spend more time and energy correcting or telling my submissive or getting loud with my submissive or having to constantly go to my submissive, guess what? You're not going to be my submissive very long
Right.
because it will either straighten up and get better or you're not going to be the submissive for me
Right.
because, especially out in public. I've said it on here before. I'll say it again. I like the brattiness. I do. I enjoy the brattiness, but there is a time and a place for that. If we're at home and you want to brat out and you want to pick and I love it. I love the banter. I love the
You let
back and
me do it
forth.
in public too, but it is
It's
a
a more
limited
controlled. It
time.
is a controlled brattiness.
Yes, I know exactly how far I can poke, and after that,
Right.
where you're correcting the behavior with a
But
look.
even on that, you may be bratting that other people don't know you're bratting.
Right, I'm not.
You're doing it to me.
Yes.
Others aren't seeing it. And I am completely good with that. I like the little bit of banter back and forth.
Right.
I like that I will put my hand on your throat and push you up against a wall and lean in and tell you in your ear how you're acting up or what I'm going to do to you. I am perfectly good with that.
That's very hot.
But
Very hot.
if I'm having to constantly do that and drain my energy on that,
right.
not only are you not having fun, I'm not having fun, and it's not going to be a good night.
So basically, don't lower your expectation when you're around others. Just because you have other people around, don't make your dynamic less than it normally is.
Correct. Exactly. Behavior still reflects your dynamic. And again, for some, so I know this was a huge conversation before, brat tamer, brat handler. I have got a little more clarification on it. I do not want to be a brat tamer. I do not want to take a brat and make them the 100% good girl all the time. I am more of a brat handler. I'll enjoy the banter back and forth. So if that is part of your dynamic, by all means, out in public, feel free to push the buttons every once in a while. Be cautious of how you do it and how many people see you do it.
And the response of your
and the
dom.
response that you get from your dom. And
because again, all of this is learned.
yes,
right? The
yes.
way we act out in public has been learned over the course of our relationship. It wasn't like the first time we went out. I mean, you did scan the room, but it wasn't like all of these things happened.
Right.
We developed you opening the doors in the
Yes.
car. We developed the things that were important to each of us.
Correct.
While in public. So, and there were failures. There were things that couldn't work.
Yep.
Because in the beginning, I didn't talk to waiters or wait staff at all.
Correct.
And I have a hard time with that because I want to say thank you. I
Right.
want to. So we've adjusted it. You place my order, you order my drinks. And then I kind of sit back and say, thank you.
Right. Or yes, please, or, something like it. Yep. So a dominant in public is calm, not reactive, aware, not paranoid, decisive, not hesitant. You don't look around for approval.
I hate when a person I'm with, when we're going into a restaurant, does not walk right up to the place, where they're seating you and say, hey, this is blah, 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 two guests, blah, blah, blah. If you are waiting for me to do it, we're going to have a problem.
Right. Oh, yeah. You do not second guess your direction. You move and your submissive adjusts. That's leadership. There has been, going back to you don't second guess your direction. There's been times I've screwed up and took the wrong path. But you don't know that. Most of the time.
Sometimes I do.
Most of the time.
And I'm like, I think we were supposed to go that way.
So it's just.
And you're like, I'm just taking a walk.
Yeah. Scenic route. We're just going this way. I thought I saw somebody I knew, that kind of thing.
You don't have to lie. You can just say, hey.
I will admit right here on this podcast yes, I screwed up fucking many times.
Yeah.
But it's only a fuck up if you don't learn from it. So learn from it, correct it, do better next time. That makes a fuck up into a life lesson. And that's how I live my life.
And so that we just basically covered kind of like the dominance
Mhm.
role out in public, right?
Right.
But as we said in the beginning, the submissives have a role too.
Their role is even bigger than the dominance role.
Sometimes I think that it's because I have to be focused. I don't know. I don't think it's bigger than the dominance because my focus literally 100% just has to be on you. If I'm
Right.
attuned to you, if I'm paying attention to your cues and signals, then my job is easy. I only have to look at you. You look at everything and
Yeah, true.
everyone and the whole situation around you. It's like the second full-time job that we've talked about by being a dominant.
I've got 3 of them now.
My job is just to watch you. I hear you. Was that a complaint?
Absolutely not.
No, I didn't think so.
Okay, let's take a break right here. We've got a lot more to cover. So let's give it a pause. Let's let our listeners really soak this in.
Okay.
And then we will be back next week with part 2. You do not want to miss it.
No, you might want to miss it because I'm sure that there's stuff negative about submissives. I'm just saying.
Never. See you next time.
Bye. Please follow, like, and share our podcast.
Make sure to visit thedomlife.com where you can find pictures and other details about the Dom Life podcast. And through the Contact Us button, you can ask questions or provide recommendations for future episodes.
We want to explore your kink too.
Be sure to check out upcoming events to see where our adventures are taking us and our photo gallery to where we've been.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. We hope you had fun listening and learning with us.
Till next time, keep calm and remember your safe word.
Red, red, red.